Okay, I'm reading this over by Benjamin Bull, former executive director of ADF Global, on the recriminalization of consensual sex between adults of the same sex in India, 2013. Okay, quote, when given the same choice of the Supreme Court of the United States had in Lawrence v. Texas, the Indian court did the right thing. India chose to protect society at large rather than giving to the vocal minority of homosexual advocates. America needs to take note that a country of 1.2 billion people has rejected the road towards same-sex marriage and understood that these kinds of bad decisions in the long run will harm society. End quote. Okay, and this is by the then senior ADF legal counsel Global Piero Tozzi, speaking at the World Congress of Families Gathering in Madrid, Spain, 2012. Oh, right. Okay. Quote, control of the education system essential to those who want to advance the homosexual agenda. By its very nature, homosexual acts are incapable of bearing fruit. Indeed, strictly speaking, they are not sexual, as they are incapable of being generative or procreative. Thus, there is a need to desensitize and corrupt young minds, both to undermine resistance to the agenda and for recruitment among these that are an emotionally vulnerable stage of development. Okay, then. Again, remember what I said. It's just these are so bizarre and out of touch with reality. I'd be here for an hour, and I'd probably never be able to upload this video. Alright. By Alan Sears, speaker at the World Congress of Families Gathering in Madrid, Spain, 2012. Quote, and in the course of new hundreds of cases, the Alliance Defend Fund has now fought involving this homosexual agenda. One thing is certain, there is no room for compromise with those who would call evil good. Wow. Okay. And by Austin Nimox, then ADF Senior Counsel, opposing a welcoming schools curriculum, 2008. Quote, the government should promote and encourage strong families. When school officials have to choose between protecting children and those families are furthering the homosexual agenda, the choice is obvious. Protecting our children comes first. Of course, fear-mongering with the children thing, because, I mean, obviously, protecting children is good, so... like, nobody's gonna deny wanting to protect children. I imagine there's not many people on the fence about this, being gay, I mean. Okay, by Austin Nimox, then ADF Senior Counsel, writing at townhall.com, 2007. Okay, I could be wrong, I'm just saying. Like, I want to have some faith. Like, I know there's loudmouth minorities out there, like these Christian weirdos, but yeah, just saying. Okay, quote, in the end, those who propose to be gay or lesbian, or who have otherwise slipped in and out of homosexual behavior, including cruising for anonymous partners, are people who succumb to dangerous temptation. Okay, do I want to read all these? Okay, background. According to its website, the Alliance Defending Freedom, ADF, has launched on the morning of January 31st, 1994, during a meeting of more than 30 Christian leaders in order to, quote, defend religious freedom before it was too late, end quote. The founding board and original funders, including James Dobson of Focus on Family, Bill Bright of the Campus Crusade for Christian Deed, James Kennedy of Coral Ridge Ministries, now James Kennedy Ministries, and Don Wildman, founder of the American Family Association. Its original purpose was to oppose the ACLU and other, quote, radical groups, end quote, as well as to fight for religious liberty. Since its founding, ADF has expanded its operations abroad as it battles abortion, LGBTQ equality, and what it considers the myth of separation of church and state. Originally called the Alliance Defense Fund, and name changes in 2012. So what is this myth of separation of church and state? Obviously, it's not true. Are like religious people saying church and state is not separate for different reasons, because that's all I'm thinking. Like, I'm pretty sure most secular, non-religious people know that, like, in God we trust is on our money and all this other shit that you could name off the top of your head. It's just different agendas for the truth, I guess, unfortunately. Okay, originally called the Alliance Defending Fund, the name changed to 2012, the ADF has been funding cases and training attorneys since its inception, claiming that it is, quote, advocating for freedom in court, end quote. Though it is also working to, quote, change the culture because it says legal victories aren't enough. In other words, ADF is attempting to eradicate the separation of church and state and graft its version of conservative Christianity into the legal profession and the culture at large through its legal strategies and training of thousands of attorneys and its advocacy of policy changes at the state and federal levels. ADF has several initiatives that help train conservative Christians. Those include a variety of programs, more like programs, designed for young lawyers, including the Young Lawyers Academy, which schools new U.S. attorney and provides opportunities, quote, to engage the culture and join a network of Christian attorneys around the globe, end quote. And the Rate Academy, which, quote, launches highly accomplished university students and recent graduates on a path of future leadership in law, government, business, and public policy, blah, 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 end quote. ADF Academy is a training program that purports to equip participants, quote, to effectively advocate for religious liberty and sanctity of life and marriage and family, end quote. ADF claims more than 1,800 lawyers have participated. The organization also offers the secretive Blackstone Legal Fellowship. Okay, it's secretive, but sure, we have quotes from you people, through which Christian law students study under prominent scholarship, participate in internships, and prepare for life in leadership and legal professions. In 2000, the year of Blackstone's inception, ADF claims it has trained more than 1,600 law students from 225 law schools in 21 different countries. In 2014, the Blackstone website noted that part of its core curriculum included a reading list that not everyone would agree with. Quote, no offense, and certainly no proselytizing is intended, ADF stated, and goes on to say, rather, Alliance Defending Freedom seeks to recover the robust Christian Christendemic theology of the 3rd, 4th, and 5th centuries, end quote, which the statement continues, its Catholic universal orthodoxy and is desperately crucial for cultural renewal. How are they saying renewal when we're returning to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th century? What is wrong with... Okay, like I said, I can't criticize everything, otherwise I'll be here forever. Okay, ADF also has a legal academy that, according to 2013 Media Kit, is a, quote, state-of-the-art lawyer training project, end quote. Launched in 1997, attorneys who attend the academy do so free of charge, but they are required to do 450 hours of pro bono work over a 3-year period, quote, on behalf of the body of Christ. Okay, end quote. And the mission of ADF. Past sessions of the academy included topics such as effectively equipping attorneys, quote, to battle the radical homosexual agenda, legal agenda, end quote, upholding the sanctity of life and parental rights, and defending religious freedom, liberty, whatever. Alan Sears was the longtime president, CEO, and general counsel of ADF until January 2017. He served in various positions during the Reagan and George W. Bush administration and also worked for Department of Justice and was appointed Director of Attorney General's Commission on Pornography. What? Okay. Under Sears' leadership, ADF expanded its training, funding, and outreach not only domestically but internationally. Using its international platform, ADF works with policymakers and other organizations to outlaw abortion, deny equality in marriage to LGBTQ people worldwide, and continues to push for hard right Christian theocratic worldview that is reflected in legislation and policies. In January 2017, ADF named longtime theocratic right-wing activist, attorney, and Baptist minister Michael Farris as its second president, CEO, and general counsel. Ferris left the Convention of States, which he co-founded in 2013, to take the position of ADF. The Convention of States advocates for holding just what its name implies, a convention of states to add amendments to the Constitution in order to stop the, quote, federal spending and debt spree, the power grabs of the federal courts, and other misuses of federal power, end quote. Ferris' history in the religious right dates back to the 1970s when he opposed the Equal Rights Amendment. In the 1980s, he was head of Jerry Falwell's Moral Majority in Washington State, and in 1983 he founded the Home School Legal Defense Association, a legal advocacy group that is also a ministry to, quote, defend and advance the constitutional right of parents to direct the education of your children and to protect family freedom, end quote. Yeah, I bet the ADF is funding Moms for Liberty or something. Like, Jesus. This sounds like that rhetoric, end quote. Okay, according to its mission statement, the HL relies on parental rights and religious freedom to guarantee the fundamental God-given constitutional rights of parents and other legally responsible for their children to direct their education, end quote. Ferris also signed on the original 1986 Coalition of Revival Manifesto, the same year that he served as treasurer for the committee to draft Pat Robinson for president. Ooh, isn't he dead? Good riddance, right? Okay. Ferris was part of the core steering committee. Among core's position was this one, quote, we deny that anyone, Jew or Gentile, believer or unbeliever, private or person or public person, is exempt from the moral and judicial obligation before God to submit to Christ's lordship over every aspect of his life in thought, word, and deed, end quote. Another core requirement was that one be, quote, willing to be martyr for Jesus Christ and the establishment for his kingdom here on earth, end quote, and also be willing to submit to, quote, the hierarchical order God has created, and goes on to say, in which we are willing to submit as to Christ to employers, civil government, and church leaders, and within family, wives to their husband, and children to their parents, end quote. Ugh, this reductionist grossness. So, I feel like this would be true if it wasn't so gross, but, yeah, alright. I mean, it's an interesting reductionist standpoint if you weren't using it to control people, obviously. You know, God creates humans, humans create something that is below them, yada yada, you know. Anyways, burn that to the ground. Alright, Ferris, who ran for lieutenant governor of Virginia in 1993, he lost. Also founded the elite evangelical Patrick Henry College in Purcellville, Virginia, where LSLDA is based. PHC is often referred to as, quote, God's Harvard, and though very small, is a well-known training ground for the religious right and a pipeline for the conservative jobs in the Washington, D.C. Students in PHC's Strategic Intelligence Program, for example, can graduate with security clearances from summer internships and end up in CIA, FBI, or the National Security Agency. Damn. So we could just have nutbags like this in the FBI, who everybody just thinks is just like on the leftist side. Well, I guess the CIA are more evil, at least from what I've heard, than the FBI. I'm pretty sure they both orchestrate atrocities, but I think the FBI more or less lets it happen and instigates stuff, but the CIA literally plots scenarios and tries to ruin whole like towns and societies. So, okay. I don't think we needed that rant from me. Okay. The LSLDA, where Ferris remains on the board, has become a powerful lobbying tool for the Christian right in terms of education. Though its members only make up about 15% of the nation's 1.5 million homeschooled children, it has been highly influential in the derailing homeschooling regulation in many states. Quote, I've been seen I've never seen a lobby more powerful and scary, said the legislative director of Michigan Democratic Representative Stephanie Chang in 2015. The HSLDA is an anti-LGBTQ promoting constitutional amendment in 2004 that would have banned same-sex couples from both marrying and civil unions. God damn it. In 2006, the group lobbied for constitutional amendment to ban marriage equality. And in 2012, Ferris threatened to sue 3 LGBTQ students at PHC who were anonymously running a blog titled Queer Patrick Henry College. Ferris sent a private message to the blog's Facebook page in which he complained that the blog was infringing on the school's copyright of PHC name. He threatened that if the blog wasn't taken down, the school would pursue legal action, reveal the bloggers' identities, and seek damages. The blogger posted Ferris' message publicly, and soon thereafter he blocked off on his threat to litigate. Oh, good on them for pushing back. Well, that dude was bluffing. He didn't think they were gonna do anything, like a fuck you or something. Like, come on, dude. Grow up. In 2010, ADF was granted a special consultative statutes at the United Nations, which allowed ADF attorneys to attend and intervene at treaty and convention drafting meetings. In that capacity, ADF attorneys are positioned to help craft language on the international stage that cleaves ADF's agenda of Christianity primacy in the public arena. Also in 2010, ADF was accepted in the EU Transparency Register, which allows the organization to influence policies of institutions of the European Union. Since granted this status, ADF has, according to its website, quote, provided numerous expert opinions and keynote addresses to European Parliament Committee and intergroups, end quote. In 2014, ADF was accredited by the Organization of American States, the world's oldest regional organization established to promote state sovereignty as well as human rights, democracy, security, and development. With accreditation from the OAS, ADF attorneys are able to influence policy by attending meetings and debates. Don't they know who these people are? Why would they let the ADF just have some leeway with this? Alright. To battle, quote, groups promoting abortion and radical sexual agendas, end quote. ADF has also received official accreditation for the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe and EU Fundamental Rights Agency. Currently, according to its website, ADF has offices in Mexico City, Vienna, the headquarters of its international arm, Brussels, London, New Delhi, Geneva, and Strasbourg, France. It also offers training in locations around the world as well as access to grants and consultation. What's up?
Oh, I'm not trying to interrupt, but I'm sure you know a thing or two about
What?
video making.
About what?
About video making.
Oh.
I don't mean to interrupt.